Stone Cold is scared of RVD. He really doesn't want him in the three-way at No Mercy. So he says to Shane and Stephanie, why don't you have RVD face The Rock for a title to win it for the Alliance right here in Ottawa. 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 I'm John Renton with the Retro View of WWE Raw from October 15, 2001. I'm going to continue to butcher songs because the beat goes on, the beat goes on, and why not have fun with this dumpster fire of an invasion angle that is just a month away from being over. Well, a little over a month, but we are nearing Survivor Series 2001 and the fallout on the Raw right afterwards that was pretty memorable because Ric Flair bought that stock in the consortium, and the consortium was me! Now you and I were partners. And I may retro-review the rest of 2001 because there were some good moments. But boy, there really were some hidden gems like matches and some really good crowds and some good comedic moments. But the invasion angle as a whole was just a 52 or 22 or 2002 car pileup that happened in Final Destination 2. I actually think it was more like about 40, but still, let's just exaggerate because, hell, WWE never exaggerates numbers. Oh, about that. 93,173 people in the Silverdome. Ha ha ha. No. Anyway, in Ottawa, Canada, and I love Canadian crowds. They're so goddamn great. The energy, the enthusiasm, bizarro world as it is. They're never dull crowds. Recaps of Foley's return. He's only back for a few weeks before leaving until around Bad Blood 2003, I believe. He needs some time away. Can't really blame him. 6 days away from No Mercy, the Go Home Raw for No Mercy, which was a pretty good pay-per-view. Here's Foley. Why is he back as commissioner? Well, not back for anybody except to help out, basically. He also wants to give the fans what they want. And he thought, why should I be scratching my butt at home when I could be scratching my butt right here in Ontario, Canada? I mean, it's so goddamn good. Of course he has to get the cheap pop. Why the fuck wouldn't he? And then Trish shows up. This idea was basically just for her to be in lingerie, which, granted, is not a bad visual. Not at all. Trish really overcame a lot of shit in 2001 to become arguably one of the greatest women's champions of all time, at least in WWE. They had her barking like a dog months earlier, and she stayed around in the company. So good for her. So, yeah, I mean, she was like, I have an idea. Why don't we, enhance this commissionary position and everything? Maybe she could be his assistant. And then Trish was basically just staying around there, and she says, Foley, if I didn't know better, I'd say you're just using this as an excuse to have me out here, staying around. Well, yeah, obviously. But he says, maybe you should be in a cage, or maybe I could have you in the cage in my office and my kids could poke you with a stick. I don't know what that was about. Foley's a little bit weird. But anyway, who wouldn't want to poke Trish with their stick? This is getting very weird. Let's move on to the Alliance, where Austin is cool with RVD in the three-way. He was not. And that they're going to have a vote on who Stone Cold's partner will be tonight. Then the APA are talking to Nydia and Jacqueline. Thank you, Derb. I will never hear Jacqueline's name the same way again. And the Hurricane suddenly has ropes tied around the APA office, the door, and the table and everything. And says, charging people for protection? What's up with that? And then he, tears with the Huracycle, tears the stuff off, and Bradshaw says, stand back, there's an ass kicking coming through. So the Dudleys took on the Big Show in a handicap match, which was the usual fare. Big Show brought a table out. Stacy's dancing, distracted Big Show. Stop thinking about it. You know who you are, Zach. I know you're thinking about it. Stop it. Get some help. And then there was a title to the head and, cover for 3. And then there was an aftermath where, oh no, they're going to put Big Show through a table. Oh no, they're not. Tajiri's going to go through a table. Oh no, he mystifyingly missed Bubba. That was hard to say. And then Bubba gets chokeslammed through a table. And then the Alliance are, basically, they got the ballot box and everything. And Austin sees who all the people voted for and throws one of the votes out. Gee, I wonder who the vote was going to be for. RVD, by the way, in case you have not been paying attention. So, and if you haven't been paying attention to the episodic, coverage that I've done of the invasion angle, then you're probably morbidly confused why I keep referring to some stuff like this. But anyway, the Alliance are in the ring. Stephanie, she knocks Linda or whatever, and then how the Alliance is about, positive experiences and everything. The Regal is the new Alliance commissioner, literally for a month. They were trying everything they could to, keep this thing limping along, because it was dragging itself across the finish line by this point. Who will team with Austin? Austin says Booker T won, even though everybody voted for RVD. I mean, a few people might have voted for Booker, but honestly, everybody voted for RVD. RVD deserves to be champion. So he says he should have a WCW title shot tonight. Switching his mindset compared to how he felt on SmackDown when it's like, no, RVD should not be WCW champion. But now that he's going to be in the three-way, hey, you need to be WCW champion so you can face Chris Jericho, and then you're not in the three-way because he knows that RVD could beat him. And there we go. So it was what it was. This was very promo heavy. Like there was, I think the first like 40 minutes were like mainly promos and like, you know, just talking because it's very much a go home show or a go home Raw for a pay-per-view. So new theme for the Hurricane. Holy sidekick Hurricane. It's Mighty Molly, and Molly Holly teams up with Lance and Hurricane against the APA and Jaqueline. Thank you again, Derb. And Nydia was there at ringside. Whatever happened to Nydia, by the way? I know after she left WWE, she might have made some wrestling appearances, but what happened to her? Genuine question. I tend to forget these things. It was all right. Clothesline from Hell, 1, 2, 3 after a few minutes. It wasn't dull, I'll say that much, but it was typical. Kidman's talking to RVD. He says, well, we all voted for you, and Canyon was seemingly sleeping in the background, then finally woke up, shit, need to do this, get my hair ready. And Taz, who was not getting his hair ready because he's bald, says, well, I'm going to tell Austin about that. Oh, you're going to be a little tassel-tail? That actually was... Kidman had some good, funny lines, despite the fact promos were not Kidman's thing. They're going to have a match later. Angle's talking about picking his partner, and then Taker says, so Booker T's your partner. Well, it looks like your mind's made up. I'm going to be your partner. And Angle says, I was just thinking that Undertaker would be a great tag team partner. I'm going to go talk strategy. And then Jericho promo, Mitchell Cole. Mitchell would have been better, and I'm talking about the Joe Don Baker character. So he's got to win the big one by beating the great one. The Rock shows up to some boos. This is about the point where the crowds really started to turn on Rock. Even though Rock got some big pops, it wasn't just it was Canada. They were starting to boo the Rock more. Not that they didn't respect him. But take a look at what happened like even just less than a year later. Or, yeah, just under a year later. At SummerSlam 2002. Let's go Lesnar, let's go Lesnar. And they were, obviously they were booing him at Mania 18, but it was time for Rock to go away eventually, and then when he came back, he was rejuvenated and everything, and it was the biggest, movie star in the goddamn world and has more money than 50 federal governments put together, but he's worked hard. So anyway, stay out of the Rock's way. Stay out of the Rock's way. And Jericho joins commentary for RVD versus The Rock, WCW Championship match, and basically Jericho was not to interfere in anything that The Rock was doing. Big fight field, very hot crowd. Jericho was talking about both guys, how both these guys are very good, but that he has to win at no mercy by any means necessary, even though memes weren't a thing in 2001. Maybe they were. I don't know. So the pace was good. We get a referee distraction. Gore to The Rock. Jericho knocks RVD off the ropes because he was about to win. But, because RVD was cheating, well, the Alliance was cheating. Basically, there was a Gore to Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson, so it went all limp, and then that was a DQ. 2-on-1 beatdown. Jericho does nothing. He just eventually, walks away and everything, and that plays in a little bit later. Stephanie yells while Rhino just stands there. She wanted him to help RVD win the WCW title. Says you need to take out Jericho later. Taz took on Kidman, and a match that certainly happened. Taz landed badly and I think jacked his neck and his head because he lost to a weird twisty DDT thing, not twist high DDT. And then Rhino took on Jericho where the crowd cheered for Jericho. And it wasn't bad. They've had better matches in the past. Obviously, since it was TV, it was not going to be as long as their pay-per-view encounters. But the walls got on. Alliance members, Raven, Mike Awesome, and I think maybe Chuck Palumbo, not necessarily certain. They run down, they attack Jericho, Rock saves him, and then Rock bombs Jericho to massive boos. Because Rock's like, okay, well, I'll save you, but I told you to stay out of the Rock's way, and haha, I did this even though you saved my title. Makes no sense. So anyway, DDP is in WWF New York, DDP in NYC. And I want to have something positive to say about the Ottawa crowd, but there's nothing positive to say about the Canadian crowds. Which is funny because he would get one of the only, big pops of his WWE run when he wrestled in the Toronto Sky Dome at Mania 18 12 years after he was driving the pink Cadillac for the Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine. Whew, man, how time flies. So, anyway, Edge comes out to a pop, and he faces X-Pac. X-Pac sucks chance, and the match was fine, and I've been saying this a lot, but I know we're nearing the end of X-Pac wrestling on, WWE television, because he would, leave to take time away from injuries, and that was probably a good thing, because at this point, I was getting sick of seeing X-Pac on my television, even though X-Pac is quite good. And Impaler 123. JR tells Edge that he heard something. Oh my God, he's talking to Christian, even though they've been at war. Mom had an accident. We need to go. We can be there in 4 hours. It was a ruse. And Chuck Palumbo and Hugh Morris decided to join this beatdown. Christian has joined the alliance. Pretends to be shocked. So anyway, Christian did say there was an accident 22 years ago or 27 years ago when Mom gave birth to you. The Vince McMahon line to Linda, or to Shane, I'll never forgive your mother for giving birth to you. So Angle and Taker are dressed alike with bandanas and sunglasses because humorous. And Austin and Booker took on Angle and Taker in a pretty good match, well-worked TV match, mostly a brawl, hot crowd. Of course, naturally, the ref just vanishes, or rather gets knocked down. Mr. White, that's not wise. We get a second ref in there after Tess clips Taker. And then it's a melee. The second ref comes down after Austin had hit Angle with the belt just for a 2 count. So Charles Robinson gets punched. Poor Charles Robinson. Then Austin, Austin's like going crazy. RVD comes down. He could have hit a frog splash on Austin, but no, he jumped a lot further and hit it on Angle. And then third referee, Nick Patrick, 1, 2, 3. And oh no, what's going to happen at No Mercy? Spoiler alert, Austin pins RVD. And then Angle joins the alliance, turning heel, ruining the babyface momentum that he had for absolutely no reason, but he was the mole for the WWF. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.